ഇതില് അവിടെ ഇരുന്ന് അറബിക്ക് ഇതില് കാണി. അറബിക്ക് രാവിലെ കുറച്ചു വർക്കുണ്ടേ, അത് തീർക്കുന്നത് വരെ സയൻസും ഹിന്ദിയും പഠിക്കും.
Seperti apa? Jadi naik. Kejar.
morning, Mr. Mustafa.
Morning, Mustafa. This is Rakesh here, and good morning to all of you who have joined us. It is such a lovely occasion, the month of Ramadan, and uh, little bit of a lockdown problem, but let the lockdown not deter us from coming together. My name is Rakesh Kodwani, and I'm based in Bangalore, and I can see so many of you, and the count is increasing. We are as of now close to 170 people, and bring them on, call your friends. And I would love for you to just take a chat and tell me which cities you are from. I'd love to know where you're from. So please chat. Couple of other requests. Please put yourself on mute. And this is the decorum we'll follow throughout the webinar. Oh wow, Gujarat, Ajman, Qatar, Chennai, Bihar, Santa Clara, Wayanad, Rajmundry, unbelievable. Bhubaneswar, Kolkata, Khobar, Malappuram. My God, look at this, Mustafa. I think you are the rock star, my friend. And it is so nice to have you. So, a little bit about both Mustafa and me. Both of us are very good friends. It's a blessing to have him as a friend. And we also are alumni of the PGSM program of IIM Bangalore. It's a 3-year part-time MBA program. I finished in 2004 and Mustafa 2007.
Yes.
Yeah, and Mustafa is also a distinguished alumni of IIM Bangalore. And I think his work for ID Fresh and all the other initiatives he does is phenomenal. So thank you so much, Mustafa, for agreeing to do this masterclass with me. I'll set the context for all our participants. And what we are trying to discuss is that we would like to bring in a view of how a CEO's life looks like and ask some very basic questions, which is connected to soft skills. And this is a subject I have been very focused on for the last 2 decades. I think if you look at our education system, there's a tremendous amount of focus on hard skills. And what I request everybody to do, including my students, is to focus more on soft skills, which is how you interact with people, how do you communicate, how you express your confidence is equally important than all the other skills that we are picking up. And this lockdown is a very good time to rethink and reskill ourselves. And what I'll do is I'll become more like a conversationist with Mustafa and use Mustafa as an expert because he has been running ID Fresh Foods along with his co-founders for many years. And he has a huge experience when he worked with companies like Intel and other companies that he worked with. So here's a question to you, Mustafa. The first thing I want to know is that tell me from the position of a CEO, how important are communication skills and confidence to you? That is one. And second, I know you as a person that by nature, you are very shy. You tend to stay quiet. But when it comes to speaking and when it comes to, doing stuff, you are a firebrand and including today. So tell us, how do you manage that and what is your view on communication?
Good morning, all. In the name of God, peace be unto you. It's a very special day in my life. I'm getting the opportunity to share stage with my personal coach today. Thank you, Rakesh sir. Thank you all for joining us today. I was very shy. I think I'm still shy. I'm still nervous, but I sort of practiced to hide it from you. Let me start this session with a story, my personal story. This was during my engineering time in NIT. You have to write you have to do a seminar towards the end of the session, end of your 4 years course. I used to love a subject called cryptography. That was my favorite subject. I had prepared well. I knew the subject very well. I thought I will score a 5 out of 5 in my seminar. But the moment I stood in front of my teachers and faculty to present the seminar, I could not use even a single word. I came out crying from the stage. I still remember that. That day, I made up my mind that I will become a public speaker one day in my life. So all you need was the determination. All what you need is the determination and a little bit of practice. Over to you, sir.
I think that's a very good point, Mustafa. And everybody, you can put your videos off. It helps in the overall bandwidth, including you, Mustafa. So our audio can be very powerful. There is a lot of bandwidth issues, but if you want to keep them on, that's fine. I have switched off my video. So I'll take you back to that stage fear that came into you, that you experienced this glossophobia, stage fear. You couldn't fulfill this whole event of speaking in front of the audience. Help us through this journey, because this is one of the biggest questions I get when I do my classes. Some people feel that, no, I'm just not cut out to speak in front of an audience. I can speak to my friends, I can speak with my family, but when it comes to an unknown audience, I'm better off sitting. But you experienced this fear, you experienced panic, but you were determined to overcome that. So help me understand those few things you did to overcome this fear and some tips for our audiences.
I would again speak to my personal experience. I think to become a sort of a public speaker or start communicating effectively, I think it's important to follow a few steps. Maybe I will take you through those steps that I practiced myself. One is to understand the importance of speaking and communication. Right. So being a CEO, it is extremely important to communicate effectively with the team and with the world. So understanding importance of communication is extremely important before even get into this. I think that's why, if you remember, sir, around 2.5 years ago, I reached out to you so that I think there is a gap in me. I need to be an effective communicator and I need to be on the stages. I have the stage fear. Can you help me? And that's how, we worked over the last 2.5 years to sort of mold me, right? So first thing is to understand the importance of communication. Being a CEO or being a leader, communication is extremely important. Second thing, it is important to identify the gap. When I say gap, there are few areas, people like me can't improve. I come from Malayalam medium, right? I still have a Malayalam accent. That's something which I can't improve. I don't have any plans to improve. In fact, I don't want to be, a native English speaker. I can't be. Whereas there are areas that, I know as a public speaker, you need to identify the gap and then focus on those gaps. For example, in my case, one of the biggest issue was the stage fear, right? So second thing is to identify the gap. Third, the most important thing is the determination. If you want to achieve something, it's extremely important to be determined. So to some great extent, in my case, determination helped in every aspect of the business, in every aspect of my life. In my case, it was extremely important again for me to get a personal coach like Rakesh sir and get molded, identify your strength and weakness and fine tune the communication, your personal communication accordingly based on the help of a coach. That is the fourth point. Fifth was practice. There's nothing, else you can do other than practicing. Next one, be prepared for failures. Because even after coaching, even after, when I attended few sessions, after the proper coaching from Rakesh sir, I still failed. But I knew that I was prepared for failures. I was not willing to give up. And most importantly, when you start getting success, that gives you confidence. What I've learned is success gives you confidence, and confidence gives you more success. And that's why I would probably summarize. Understand the importance of communication, identify a gap, be determined, get a personal coach, practice, be prepared for failures, and start feeling success. That will give you confidence. Over to you, sir.
Wonderfully, wonderfully summarized, Mustafa. And I've worked with you. I must tell one thing about you to everybody else, which I think is very critical as well. A very important part, Mustafa, you did was that despite running an intense operation of fresh products from your factory to the stores and managing so many things, I think you carved out time for learning this subject. And many of you don't know, Mustafa spent upwards of 20 hours a week just to get this entire skill to a certain level. Now, let me break that down for you. Usually, we all work about 40 to 50 to 60 hours a week. Mustafa probably would be working for upwards of 80 hours, which means that he did not sleep for many days. And I think that's a skill that I encourage you all to start thinking that this can be learned. It requires focus and it requires effort, and anybody can learn this skill. Mustafa, one more question on this, and before I go on, there is a participant, Mr. Sabir. Please put yourself on mute. We can hear you, and thank you very much. So you talked about failures in this entire process. One is failures when you face an audience. Second is failures in personal life, because that connects to confidence as well. You have been dealing with failures every day, because the life of an entrepreneur is also about many more fears, including paying bills and paying salaries. How did you deal with all of these failures and keep yourself motivated? What are those one or two things you can tell our audiences on how they can deal with fear of failure so that they can improve their confidence?
So maybe I can start with my first business, which was when I started when I was in my 20s. I just passed out of my college engineering, and I was in Middle East. I started an online used car showroom based out of Middle East. It was doing very well. We were probably hundreds of transactions being happening on the platform on a daily basis. We were also getting a buyout offer from few companies, large companies, to take over this business. But we thought we got $1 billion business ready. We didn't want to give it up. We didn't want to sell it at that time. So that continued for almost like 1.5 years. Then .com bubble happened. Everything went for a toss. I lost my hard-earned money. I lost my weekends. And most importantly, I lost my confidence. That sort of instilled a fear of failure in me. But when we started ID, we started failing every day. In fact, in the last 4,000 days of my association with ID, I would have failed at least 10 times every day. I would have failed at least 40,000 times in the last 12, 13 days. I actually plan to write a book about my failures along with you. Like we talked about it. So these days, anything that we do is bound to fail. If I do 10 things, 8 things are bound to fail. And that's how life works. So today, I am prepared for failure. And moreover, I don't lose my confidence when I fail. Even if you look at one of the very innovative products that we launched in the market 2 years ago, Vada. It took us 3 years to build a hold for the Vada. It took us hundreds of failures, but we didn't give up.
Just 1 second, Mustafa. Sorry to interrupt you. There are 2 users who are not on mute. We are going to throw you out if you're not going to put you on mute. One is MD Hashdi Babu. Please put yourself on mute right now. And the second is someone called user. And if this continues, we'll have to throw you out because everybody is impacted. So please be sensitive to everybody's time, and please be conscious that your minor sounds are being heard by everyone. My colleagues Avantika and Deepika,
Can you
please
mute
make me
all?
the host so that I can then manage. Yeah, I
Deepika,
think we can now do mute all.
okay. You can do mute all, and you can
Yeah, I
also,
think Mustafa,
sorry,
yeah, you are the host right now. You are the host right now, so you can do that mute part. Or
I'm
if
not
you
the host.
want, I can be the host. So,
One second, one second.
so
I'll do
I'll
one thing.
become the host. Yeah.
Deepika, will only make
Whenever
me the host.
ready.
Deepika, please make me the host. I will control it.
Yeah, good. Go ahead.
Okay. So where do we lose you?
Yeah, so we were talking about the confidence and the book part. Please continue from there.
I was talking about Vada. So in the case of Vada, it took us almost like 3 years to build a hole for the Vada. We failed 100 times. We didn't give up. In fact, when we failed 99th time, we knew there is only one more step to succeed. That's the confidence that we have in the team today. In fact, one thing that I've learned is if you want to get a product like Vada, you need to have this culture of failures in the organization. You need to celebrate failures. You need to let the employees fail. Otherwise, you will not get a product like Vada. Coming back, today we are able to take the right distance from our experience. We gained experience from our failures, and that's a fact.
On this topic of Vada and innovation, one part is that you have this communication skill, but I'm sure that the whole concept of innovation also plays a very big part in communication, right? I mean, the content itself is very critical when you are speaking your ideas to your audiences. So the style of delivery is important, but also the content of delivery is important. Would you agree with that?
I completely agree because I think I started building confidence while talking about Vada. And in that story, I am not the hero. Vada is the hero. When it took me 3 years to build a hole for the Vada, that became the talk of the town. But delivering that story gave me confidence. So once you have an innovative product or innovative idea, it makes your life easy to communicate.
I think that's a great view that you have brought, Mustafa, which I also agree. Many times, a lot of trainers and people look at communication skills only on the delivery aspect. But I always say that delivery is important, but also the content and the logic and the science is equally important. So one cannot disregard all of that just so that you can speak with a great voice and a great English. And you are a great example because I know how much your Malayalam accent is very evident. And I think when I was working with you, one of the things you were very clear about was that I really don't bother about what the world thinks about my accent because what is important to me is my words and the way I communicate with them. And we use that methodology on the entire framework. So here's a question for you. Lot of Indians have severe confidence issues because of their accent. It could be a Malayalam accent, a Hindi accent, or a Tamil accent, because we also went to colleges where English is the lingua franca and it continues to be so. So any tips you can give to any of our participants out here to not worry too much about these superb English speaking skills, because we don't want to become Shashi Tharoor. We can be ourselves and we can still communicate properly.
Rakesh, I failed in 6th standard because I didn't even understand the basics of English. Right? I didn't even understand the 26 letters in English those days. I studied in a Malayalam medium. Even until engineering days, I was not at all comfortable speaking in English. So I think that accent doesn't matter. people, when you have your emotional story, personal story, people, value that more than your accent. I've been in various platforms, international platforms as well, wherein I was like a young kid. I didn't even know basics of English, right? Out there were experts, but I think the story matters, the content matters. Ragesh, over to you. You're on mute, Ragesh.
Yeah, sorry about that. I was asking that you have a huge social brand these days. You have also become very visible and vocal on the online social platforms. So, did you work on your online communication and these tools and techniques so that your communication is much better? You now have like a million plus followers on all social platforms. So, how did you achieve that?
So first of all, I think it's extremely important to build a brand. To build a brand, I sort of used a framework, and that framework, I would probably try to explain to you the way we followed it in ID. To build a brand, I think there are three important aspects that you need to focus on. One is the product. I'll come back with an explanation of this statements. Second thing, memorable user experience. And third, powerful stories, well-crafted stories. So let me just explain this concept with you. Let me take the example of vada. Vada made out of ID vada batter was very crispy, very tasty, soft inside. You get a crunchy feel. You get a good aftermouth taste. Kids start loving vada. And you feel like having one more vada. So that's the kind of product that you need to launch. The product should be the hero, not a celebrity should be the hero. Your product should be the hero. If you don't get the product right, don't even try to build a brand. Second part of brand building is memorable user experience. We all listen to the advertisements on various platforms. Very seldom we remember those advertisements. But whatever you do, whatever you experience for the first time in your life, you probably will remember your lifetime. So in the case of ID vada batter, we didn't sell vada, we sold vada batter. When vada batter is squeezed and the vada batter comes out from the vada batter pack in the round shape, that was like an aha moment for many customers. For most of them, this was the first vada in their life. Kids started making vada using the vada pack and started posting on different social media platforms. So first time when you squeeze a vada pack, you get the vada in the round shape. That was a memorable experience that we were able to give to a customer. So giving that memorable experience is key. Now, third part is probably one of the most understated part. And to me, that's one of the most important part. It is well-crafted storytelling. I think storytelling is the best way to build a brand. People don't remember ads. People remember the stories. So if you're able to deliver the story with an emotional touch, that works. And by the way, I started my LinkedIn platform. I started becoming active on LinkedIn less than 2 years ago. I think around 18 months now. Today, most of the posts would have probably around 1.72 million views, right? Because I think the content is important.
Yeah. Also, I feel that, and this is again a theoretical perspective, that you have been consistent in your communication. It's not like 1 month you're communicating about becoming an entrepreneur and the next one you're talking about sales and marketing. You've been very consistent about innovation, common sense. I
Yes.
will provide products which are fresh. So I think a very critical element I see in you, and correct me if I'm wrong, is your philosophy and your values.
Yeah.
And you have been consistent with your philosophy. If I take Mustafa as the CEO or of Mustafa as a human being, they both are similar. Do you agree with my observation on that?
I completely agree with you. In fact, what we try to build in ID is to some great extent from our own personal life, personal experience.
Yeah.
Let me probably answer this with a small sentence. I had a very tough childhood. Three-time meal was a distant dream during my childhood days. Breakfast was probably a luxury. Yes. Today, I'm part of a team who did. Devika, can you mute them, please? Rag. Okay, thank you. Today, I'm part of a team who delivers more than million idlis every day across 47 cities. That is not by chance; it is by choice. So once you have a powerful vision to do something, and when you have a purpose behind it, I think you will achieve it, and it becomes easy for you to communicate. Um, a real life story is easy to be communicated rather than a fabricated one.
I think that is spot on, Mustafa. I'll tell you a perspective on that, which I think I want to share with all our participants. A very big part of communication skills, soft skills, confidence comes from your curiosity, creativity, your ability to collaborate, and your competence. And in your case, what I've seen is that given the childhood experiences you had, that gave a very tremendous power of narrative and storytelling that came out. And you, as a person, was willing to bring that out. Many times, many students in India don't have these kind of experiences because the only thing they have done is memorize books and write answer sheets, and they have no stories to tell. And if you ask many students of India, tell me something about yourself, chances are the answer is, I studied in this school, I have so much of marks, and my hobbies is some reading, writing, and all that stuff. But a very big part that I think you and all of us should talk to them is about this variety of experiences which come out in your communication. And your stories are very critical in your products, and like how you have taken your entire childhood experience into a story. Like, my favorite part of working with you was a sentence that you told me that, Rakesh, when I was a child, eating breakfast was a luxury, and today I am now creating a company which feeds millions of people hot simple breakfast. And that is such a powerful sentence that comes out in your entire social building. And your online platforms have kept with this consistency of honesty and values. In this entire plan, do you have a team as well? Do they help you in this whole marketing and advertising and brand building?
Yeah, it is. It's a joint effort.
Mhm.
Initially, as I mentioned to you earlier, I was determined that to build a brand, communication is important. So I started practicing myself, and once I started getting some confidence, I then got the help from the team to bring in a structure for this entire communication and entire brand building,
Right.
including the ID brand building and probably a personal brand building as well.
Yeah. So basically, it
So this is something.
requires.
Sorry, by the way, this is something which we somehow underrate. Being a CEO, a personal brand is also important.
Yeah. And this personal brand and CEO brand and ID brand first of all, are connected, but also they are resource intensive. You need to put in time and resources, just like you would do for any other important operations, right?
So in this case, for example, public relations and ID, I still manage.
Hmm. Which means that you would be getting lots of complaints. What is your typical response to a very angry customer? How do you deal with them?
So what I've learned is, you know, when you deal with any business, you will definitely have customer complaints. When you deal with food, you will have more complaints. When you have fresh food, which are free from chemicals and preservatives, you are bound to get at least 100 complaints in a month, in my experience. I think the first thing to do is accept there is a mistake. Even if it is not a mistake, just accept it. I think 50% of the problem is solved. Second thing, make this customer happy by delivering a product kit in the next few hours. Immediate response as well as action, and surprise them with the product kit is good enough. 99% of the problems get solved there. And I can tell you, in ID, one of our best strength is our customer care. Almost 100% of the customers who complained have become our loyalists and product advocates because the way we handle customer care. That's also key.
Yeah. And also, I think, again, I go back to this conversation you and I were having the other day, that a CEO is also a human being. And what I feel sometimes many of us forget is that we have to use human values in communication. So here are two more questions for you, and then I would encourage our participants to chat with me and tell me some questions. First question is that many students, especially the ones that I work with, and I run executive programs for young professionals and entrepreneurs, many of them have a very common question that, sir, if we say sorry, then we are acknowledging our mistake and we become very weak in the eyes of customer. So it's better not to say sorry, better not to bring any emotions. But you, on the other hand, are saying that you should, say sorry and you should bring emotions. So talk to me about that what is the fine line of Mustafa as a human and Mustafa as a CEO when it comes to communication?
Should I keep it towards the end?
Yeah,
Probably
I think that,
I'll
yeah,
answer towards the end. Maybe we'll open it for the Q&A, and I'll answer this point towards the end for sure.
all right, so you can do that. And the questions that I'm now beginning to get is, one question came from a participant to me privately. This question I get a lot of times these days. What are the top 2 or 3 things that you are doing as a CEO in this coronavirus pandemic that all of us should learn from?
I think a couple of things that we did well in ID is communicating the purpose with the team. I'll quickly talk about it. So in this crisis, we had 3 options. One is to run the business as it is. Second was to scale down the operation. And third was to shut the operation. Shutting the operation was probably the best business decision. But then that is like running away from the responsibilities. Our customers need us the most during this difficult time. But then we have to also worry about employee safety. In this case, let's assume a hospital shut the shop, a pharmacy shut the shop, a policeman decided to strike. We will not be able to manage things. We took that route. We then used those routes to communicate with the employees that we should not run away from the responsibilities. We should take all the safety measures and support our customers during this difficult time, because as Indians, as citizens, we have a responsibility to India and to the world. We took that route. That really helped. Second thing that worked in ID is a daily communication with employees. We set up a hotline And every day 8 p.m. all employees can come online and chat with me, right? Share the views. We also celebrate those 30 minutes with some music and stuff like that. That really helped. And third, we started communicating with the families of the employees, because our employees could be committed, but then they have to get support from the families. So we communicate with the families of the employees. I think these three really worked. Communicating the purpose with the employees, a daily Zoom call, hotline call, that worked. And third, communicating with the families of the employees. That is probably something very unique that we did.
I think the second point is something we are also doing, Mustafa. We are a very small team, about 8 people. But every morning we just pick up the call and talk about what we ate, what movies are we watching. Very light. But I found that these very simple techniques are very critical, because all of us are working from home, cooped up. And these simple connects are more important than, hey, what is the update on this issue and what's happening, and so on and so forth. And I think this connects again with the
Yeah.
overall point that you have to behave like a human being, and you have to also consistently communicate in the same way, like how you would communicate with customers. And like, if you are being very nice to customers, but if you're very harsh to your employees, the employees are going to find this out, and there will be a inconsistency in your brand. So a very critical part I think you have done very well is to be very consistent in your managing of communication with all kinds of stakeholders. So here's a question from one of our listeners, that you got a chance to meet Azim Premji, Bill Gates, people who are someone we read in Economic Times. Tell us about that how do you communicate with them? Like, someone like me would just probably be frozen and I wouldn't even open my mouth. So how do you talk to them?
So probably I was the youngest kid in the group. that sort of gave me some sort of advantage. I was lucky to be on the same table as Bill. So that, initially you're right. I was also frozen, but I think after some time, spending some time with him, that gave us a confidence. But I want to share a story with you, probably from again experience of meeting with him. I will again connect with my childhood story. I am from a very remote village in a beautiful place called Wayanad in Kerala. During my early school days, my dad used to share a lot of stories with me. One such story, probably I narrate here. It was about a mango tree. So there was a mango tree in our backyard, and every mango season he used to ask me this question. A particular branch of the mango tree is so close to the earth. He asked me why. Why is that particular branch of the mango tree, closer to the earth? I being a kid at that time, I didn't understand what he meant by this. And then he also used to explain to me that particular branch of the mango tree has more mangoes, so that is close to the earth. I didn't understand ABCD of this communication at that time. But when I met Bill Gates and Premji a couple of times, I've learned the importance of being humble. The more mangoes that you have, you become close to the earth, close to the ground. I think that's one important thing that I've learned from them. You should learn an art of being humble from them.
Excellent. Very good answer. I also have a very cheeky question for you, because I know you personally, and this was an issue when we were working together in our communication work. You don't read, right? This is one problem you have conveyed to me, that Rakesh, ask me to do whatever you want, but please don't ask me to read. And I, like a proper teacher of communication, no, Mustafa, you have to read, otherwise where will the communication come from? tell us about this challenge. How do you overcome? Where do you get your content from? Because I'm sure many of my listeners, this is a big problem. Reading is hard. So how do you deal with this?
Sir, I might talk about something, you may not like about it, and that's a fact. I feel sleepy when I try to read something, and that's a fact. Whenever I try to read something, I know I feel sleepy. What I've learned now is, initially, uh, to read, you need your eyes. These days, to read, you don't need eyes, right? Your ears could be good enough. You have a lot of podcasts. Listen to those. That is equivalent to reading, according to me, because I can't read otherwise. The only way for me to improve my knowledge is to listen.
I second that, Mustafa. And there are so many free podcasts and audio books one can read from. Is there one podcast you could name for all of us?
I quite like the WhatsApp story,
Hmm.
the founders of the WhatsApp story. That was
Right.
something which I think you shared with me, right?
Yeah, I did. This was the How I Built This podcast, right? And many more stories like that. So, all of you who are listening out there, Mustafa and I recommend that you pick up this podcast called How I Built This. Well, I must boast myself. My podcast is also not bad. Mustafa has still not heard it, but I think you should hear that. And one or two more questions coming up. Um, there is this concept of upskilling these days, Mustafa. A very big problem that we are all facing in the world is tremendous economic downturn. So, any two or three skills you can suggest our learners to invest in that they can use today?
I'm not an expert. If somebody is telling you that he's an expert in telling you predicting post-COVID, he is completely wrong. I think this is there are no rule books for these things. We are all learning. So maybe I can share a few things from my experience again. One, this is probably the best time to innovate. You can see my hairstyle, right? I didn't get a haircut for the last 2 months. I wish one of you come up with a helmet which will give me an automatic haircut. I think this is the best time to innovate. Look around, identify customer problems, and use common sense to innovate. I think that is the best way to do during this crisis. Because post-COVID, you will see a different world for sure. Out there, if you have the right products, you will become a star.
by
Over
the
to
way,
you.
I must tell you, Mustafa, there is a lovely old movie called Chitty Chitty Bang Bang, and I'll put that link or at least the name of the movie for everybody. It's a very old movie, like a children's movie about a car which flies. And
Okay.
the inventor of that car is a father of two children who is an inventor. And when you were saying this helmet to cut the hair, that movie actually has a helmet that cuts the hair. And it's a very funny scene that the father, to power the helmet, connects it to a bicycle and he pedals the bicycle and that provides the energy. And then somebody comes and they cut the hair. But in
Wow.
his exuberance, he pedals it too hard. So the customer loses all the hair. So I think I encourage all of you to at least watch movies. The name of the movie is Chitty Chitty Bang Bang, and even Malayalam movies. Mustafa, I watch nowadays a lot of Malayalam movies thanks to my wife. I watched this movie on public speaking, brilliant movie called Trance, Trance. And have you watched that?
No, I haven't.
Oh, I think you'll love it because this is that Fad Fazil, and he is the actor in that, and it's about how they use public speaking to fool people and this subject can be very dangerous because communication does change the mind of people, but we have to use it very ethically.
Yeah.
So we have thousands of questions coming, but we are at 12:15. I'll take two more questions from our audiences. One of our question comes from a 10-year-old boy from Santa Clara, and he asks to Mustafa that, Mustafa, I'm a very big fan. When is your ID batter coming to US?
Coming soon.
Coming
We had
soon.
all we are all set for the launch last year. Due to some logistic issues, we could not launch it last year.
Mhm.
Luckily, we launched coffee last year in US market.
Uh-huh.
But other products probably we will launch paratas and all in the US market sometime early next year, and then batter coming soon, because
Very
batter in US is the toughest challenge, especially because of the toughest or climate conditions, extreme climate conditions in US makes it difficult for natural fermentation of the batter, and we don't add chemicals or preservatives to ferment the batter. We don't even add soda. So key is to get the natural fermentation done for the batter. We're still working on it.
I hope that answers your question. Arav, there you are. I can see you. And Mr. Nishant, please put yourself on mute. Thank you very much. One question that has come in that I think is relevant to everyone. Everybody is floored by your simplicity, by your humility. I've experienced it firsthand, so I know what kind of a person you are. But one question that I think picked my attention and I want to ask you is that, you must be undergoing severe amount of stress also. I mean, it's not fun running 1,000 crore brand, and COVID-19 would have definitely impacted your revenue, sales, profits. So future is bleak for everyone, but for you, you're also managing such a big operation. So tell us, how do you stay so calm and so smiling and so cheerful? What can we learn from you? 2 or 3 tips on that.
Let me just think about it. The first one would be, start enjoying what you do. I enjoy every day in my life. Right? Once you start enjoying it, you won't feel pressure. And once you do it for a purpose, and once you see the results, you will start falling in love with what you do. So that is first part of the question. What was the second part, sir?
Second part is that you also would be experiencing tremendous amount of stress because of the COVID-19.
It was the case earlier. Initial days, I had to work like 14 hours a day or 15 hours a day. But these days, we have built a strong functional team in ID, and most of the day-to-day operations are handled by the experts on the market. I probably come to Zoom calls.
Okay. All right. One more question has come from one of our listeners to me privately. Are these big college brands very important for one's success? And I get this question a lot, because everybody who feels that they want to be successful has to get some amazing degree from some amazing sounded college. So, what is your view on that?
I don't think it's required, but it sort of helped me in ID. So let me probably tell you how it helped me in ID. One, I think I've said three aspects that helped me in ID. One, it helped me to identify different aspects of the business that I need to focus on. Second, it helped me to identify the importance of building a brand. Third, it gave me courage to quit my well-paid job and become an entrepreneur.
Mm.
And fourth, probably, it got me a lot of PR. A boy from IIM Bangalore doing idli business was talk of the town. So that helped.
Yeah, I also feel that there is something which I think I've been dabbling with, that actually in one of the forums there was a very pinpointed question that would someone like you, I, and many more people, would we have reached where we have reached if we wouldn't have those brands? So I don't know what's the answer to that question, but I do have a way to help everybody understand that there are two things that are very critical. The first one is talent, and the second one is access. And what big colleges, like how I have been privileged and you have been privileged to go through, despite the hardships you went through, is the access. But talent was not given like that. Talent is something you work on that. So I think, Mustafa, here's a question for you. Between talent and access, which one would you pick?
Access, I think.
All right, okay, that's a fair point. And would luck play a very crucial role?
I think Almighty God has a plan for all of us.
Hmm, I agree with that. Fair enough. So we are at 12:23. We are going to wrap up in the next 5 or 6 minutes. So this is the last question I have saved for you, Mustafa. And with that, we can also close our session. I know everybody wants to speak to you forever, but you have a very busy schedule. Before I end, I also wanted to thank your team, Deepika, and your team, and my team from School of Meaningful Experiences. We will put out the summary recording and a summary of this conversation on our blog, and please work with us. So here's the question we had saved earlier. Sometimes you want to communicate something but you're not able to, and there is the human aspect of being a person, and then there's a CEO aspect of being a person. So how do you manage that, and what's your suggestion for all of us?
So at the end of the day, all of us need to be human, right?
Mm.
People love you when you are transparent. Mentioned earlier, even if it is not it is not ID's mistake, we apologize to them, and that will solve 50% of the problems. And remaining 50% of the problem is solved when you gratify this customer for reporting this issue and take it in a very positive way. Now, there are many times in my life as well, we were not able to, I wanted to communicate something, but I will not be in a position to communicate the emotion rightly. I'm not an actor. I am still nervous inside, by the way, but I practice to hide it from you. And that's the trick. Let me share one such experience which happened in the last 2 weeks. As you all probably know, I had a very tough days during my school time. 3-time meal was a distant dream. Breakfast was a luxury. I was very poor in my studies. Was a school dropout. So I had to go through the tough times. I had to walk almost 6 kilometers to my school every day. So went through those tough times. During this lockdown, I was lucky to spend time with my parents. So 3 weeks ago, while we were having lunch, I was talking to my mom and was discussing about a person called Itta. Itta used to work with us 10 years ago. She's a widow and she also had a special child. I hadn't interacted with her for a long time. I meet her sometimes, but didn't speak to her for a long time. So and while we were finishing our lunch, my mom called up Itta, and she was chatting with her, and then I said, "Can I talk to her?" So mom handed over the phone to me. I was talking to Itta, and I casually asked her, "Itta, bhashnam kaicho?" in Malayalam, which means "Did you eat?" or "Khanakaya." She started crying, and she started praying for me. The only thing that I asked her was "Khanakaya," or "Did you eat?" That's the moment that both of us will not forget in our lifetime. That's a very beautiful story here. I wanted to communicate this message to the world that this is the time probably for us to reach out to those kind of people and ask them. Interestingly, Itta, who used to work with us, had enough food to eat for the next 1 month. She didn't cry because she didn't have food. She cried because she felt there was someone thinking about her. She cried because she felt there is someone who will care for her. So I wanted to communicate this message to the world, but there was no way for me to communicate this in the same sense. That's when I reached out to my team, and my team developed a communication in a different way. So the point I'm trying to communicate, point I'm trying to tell you here is, Rakesh, it doesn't have to be always a written communication or a public speaking. It could be even in a format of a small video. So we developed this communication and we launched this campaign called Khana Khaya. Can I play the video for everyone?
Yes, please. Please go ahead.
Can you see my screen?
Yes, we can.
Okay, please watch this video. Okay, there's a background to this. Every year we have a campaign called Khana Khaya that happened to be on May 10th, which is on Mother's Day. This time, we didn't want to wait for Mother's Day to celebrate Mother's Day. We thought we should celebrate it today, but with a twist. So please watch this video.
Hello?
Hello, ma'am. Sunil here. 10th B, 2005 batch. Sunil Kumar.
Ah, yes. Sunil Kumar. How are you, beta?
Fine, ma'am. And you?
I'm okay. Managing. Are you okay?
Actually, thought of the day when you saw me hungry and drinking water from the tap. You never let me go hungry after that. And your words brought love and comfort to me. It's my turn now, ma'am. खाना खाया क्या?
When mom asks you khana khaya, she means I love you. But when you ask someone khana khaya, it means you remember. You care. You're sharing the love of a mother. So call your elderly neighbors, your colleagues, friends, and family. Let them know you care.
Thank you. So the message I was trying to communicate is there was no way for me to communicate this emotion in my talk.
Yeah.
But I thought I should use a different platform to communicate this. So stories are extremely important. You can use different platforms to communicate. It could be written communication, LinkedIn, social media platforms. It could be public speaking. It could be even a quick video. We didn't spend much money to create this video, by the way. It was short, if you look at the teacher out here, this video was shot on iPhone by her husband, who was 70 years old.
Fascinating.
But we got it. Once you have a powerful story, world will love it. By the way, my dream was to communicate this message to at least 100,000 people, that we should reach out to people and ask them khana kaya during this tough time. And I'm very happy to tell you, as on today, probably we have reached out to almost 30 million people with this message in the last 2 weeks.
Wow. Absolutely brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Now, I think I'm in tears, Mustafa. I think a lot of comments are coming that it has touched everyone in the right chord. As I said, that it's a blessing to know you as a friend and also as a student of mine for the program we did. And I can only say that I hope you inspire many more millions and millions of learners out there to become a value based human being, a human being who also is a CEO and does the work for others. And I learned a lot from this interaction. Wanted to thank you for your time and also request all our participants that I think please take Mustafa's words, I think, in the right inspirational way. Both of us are very clear about working together and doing many more things on this front. And we would love for you to join us. If you have any questions, my colleagues, Avantika, Ruben, and Mustafa's colleagues, Deepika, are there for you. Please send us a message. But Mustafa, truly it has been a lovely morning with you on a Sunday and with our 240 plus members who have joined from all over the world. Thank you very much.
Rakesh, I have a final message for everyone.
Please go ahead.
World love beautiful stories. All of you have those beautiful stories to share with this world. And these stories will help to make this world a better place. If I can reach where I am today, all of you can do wonders in this world. So my request to all of you is start writing and sharing your stories from today. Thank you again for this wonderful opportunity. Thank you all for joining us today. God bless you all. Jai Hind.
Thank you very much, Mustafa. And if any of you want to know more about our program for working professionals and executives, please WhatsApp 76760 and we'll be happy to give you information. Have a great day ahead and wonderful to have all of you. Mustafa, thank you very much. Jai Hind to all of you. Have a nice day, everyone.
Helmet. Don't forget that helmet.
Oh, yes.
Sure.
All right. Okay. Thank you, everyone. Have a nice day. Bye-bye.
Welcome, Sai. Welcome.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you all. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Everyone. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Mustafa. നല്ല രസമുണ്ടായിരുന്നു.
Thank you, Mustaka.
സൂപ്പർ ആയിട്ടുണ്ട്.
Thank you, Mustaka.
Hello, hi. The session is over or still going on?
It's over.
Oh, bro.
Hello. Mashwi Indo-Arabian restaurant. Is it where it is actually?
Hello. Yeah, this is in Kalyan Nagar, Bangalore.
Oh, okay. I'm from Madurai. Once I come there, surely I'll be trying it because I
Sure.
didn't have an Indo-Arabian restaurant before. I didn't had the